Hello, everyone. There's been another horrific, deadly attack by Russian military against Ukrainian civilian targets. And unfortunately, as predicted, the death toll is up from the attack in the village of Hroza yesterday. So there was a missile attack in eastern Ukraine that ended up killing a 10-year-old child and his grandmother. This was in the Kharkiv region, so this was in the northeast. And there's an article in Associated Press, but the same story is being also broadcast by other networks, other sources, both American and European. In addition, among the wounded is an 11-month-old child. And while continuing to murder Ukrainian children and other civilians, Russia is also pounding the port infrastructure and grain silos along the Danube River. Both are crucial to continuing exports of Ukrainian grain and other goods. And Putin claims to have successfully tested a new generation of nuclear-powered cruise missiles, while U.S. is still wondering whether to give long-range missiles to Ukraine. And yes, Joe Biden, I agree with you. You should be concerned about the failing attempts of the government to pass the aid package to Ukraine, because you know what? Those assholes in Russia are not going to wait for the House of Representatives to sort itself out. They're just going to keep murdering people. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said that the process that the countries go through to join the European Union is merit-based. Okay. So, compared to certain members or near members of the European Union, where does Ukraine rank? I know that Ukraine has issues with corruption, and NATO and EU both, supported by the US, insisted that Ukraine implement the anti-corruption measures even as it's fighting the war, which Ukraine, incidentally, has been doing. Take that on for size. So there is that. So meanwhile, as existing EU members, we have Hungary, which is basically a fascist state at this point. We have Slovakia, which had just elected a pro-Russian leader, and we know how well that usually works out. Turkey, who is not an EU member but is also applying for EU membership, but is a NATO member, has, first of all, very cozy relationships with Russia, and second of all, not a fabulous relationship with its neighbor in the EU, Greece. So compared to those, where does Ukraine rank, considering it's been a buffer between EU and Russia now for nearly 10 years? Because the destabilization of the relationship between Ukraine and Russia really started reaching the boiling point right around October 2013, 10 years ago. You might want to look that up. That's to all the people who say Ukraine should have stayed neutral. Look up what happened around this time 10 years ago. Maybe that'll sink in. So, given all of that, how many merit points does Ukraine get? And how much longer is everybody okay allowing this to happen? And this. How much is too much? When is it going to stop being okay for Russia to commit acts of genocide on the territory of its neighbors?